Hello, and welcome back to another Bolts Analysis 2020. I'm Chris, and we're going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning and indeed the rest of the NHL. Tonight, the Tampa Bay Lightning are at home to the Los Angeles Kings, who used to be good. Go back to 2012, as recently as 2014, the Kings were good. The Kings were solid. The Kings had Jonathan Quick in his prime. The Kings had 2 Stanley Cups in 3 years, which is no mean feat. It's more than we've got in over 20, nearly 30. So, definitely take notice of that, applaud that. But these days, the Kings have not made the playoff series since 2018. In 2018, they played the Vegas Golden Knights, who hadn't been in a playoff series before and got swept. The Kings did not even come close to making the playoffs last season, and probably won't come close to making the playoffs this season. There are definite issues, whether it's just confidence, a lack of personnel, Jonathan Quick not being half the goalie he used to be, bad to, even when their form is good, it's not great. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They got shut out by Carolina last time. It's kind of pointing to a Tampa Bay victory. Another thing that's probably pointing to a Tampa Bay victory is that Andrei Vasilevsky, is going to be back in net. He's been fantastic recently. His save percentage is up. He is technically undefeated, in the current run because he wasn't playing in the game against the New Jersey Devils. So I'm quietly confident that he'll have another good game, and if we play like we have been playing at home, the Kings will not present too much of an issue at all. Especially as even when they're playing quite good, even when they beat Vegas 5-2 recently, it's still a little bit leaky. Still not an all-round, oh my goodness, this team, good heavens, they're going to take the Pacific by storm some days. No, probably not for a while. Maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, but not right now, no. So yes, there's that game tonight. There's a few other games tonight that are going to be pivotal. I think I do have to mention a little bit of yesterday's action, because whilst Boston technically went 1 point further ahead of us, they really could have got 2. But first of all, they gave up a 5-2 lead against Philly, and it went into overtime, and then it went to a shootout, and then Brad Marchand, needing to score to win, moved towards the puck and touched the puck, but kind of left the puck behind at the same time. But because he touched the puck, the refs huddled and went, that is technically an attempt on goal. The second you touch the puck, you have to score with that attempt, or it's game over. So I've even watched the video. It barely moves, but he does touch it. So, unlucky Boston. Yet another shootout loss. They really need to fix that. What it has done as well is it's actually put Philly back into the playoff places for now. They're in the wildcard spots. So that makes it a little bit more intriguing, especially as it's kind of surprising that Florida, after such a big win against Toronto, are still outside of the playoff standings looking in. But I would imagine, come their games in hand, they will do something about that, and do something about that quite ferociously. Carolina didn't make any further progress. They lost to Washington. Washington looked very good, very solid, like they were back on the horse. Ovechkin, once again, had an excellent game. That second goal in particular, it doesn't matter what you do, I think. You can try and get in the way. You can try and sort of close him down. He's going to unleash a rocket at some point in the game, and you've just got to hope it hits the post or goes high, something, because you ain't stopping it. There were 3 other games. So Montreal beat Calgary. Montreal looked good for once. Yeah, Montreal looked like they might be sort of kind of getting back in the groove a little bit. Calgary sort of just did well to stay in the game, to be honest. It's going to need a lot more than that from Montreal. If that was what Montreal were doing game after game in, game out, I'd be confident in them getting back into the playoff race. But no, they are not nearly consistent enough. And, even in that game, you kind of felt, well, Carey Price had to do a bit more work than he should have had to ensure, a comfortable win. So there's still work to be done, and I think there's probably still work to be done by Calgary. It's not necessarily a bad loss, but with the Pacific being as tight as it is, they could do with making sure that that's just the one loss and not sort of, the start of a skid. Anaheim lost to St. Louis. Pretty much went the way I expected it to go. St. Louis looked very strong, running away with the Central, and why not? They're a very good team. And the game that I actually listened to, because it was a humdinger, New York Rangers beating the New York Islanders 6-2. Good gracious, this one was feisty. There were two big old fights within the first 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, one of them wasn't really a fight. One of them was just literally another guy going onto Haley. Just Johnson versus Haley. That's not a fair fight. At the second fight, and this is an uncovered rule I didn't know about, ended up with both guys in the second fight getting a game misconduct. Because if you have more than one fight within the same stoppage, that's an automatic game misconduct, which I guess sort of does help sort of limit the fighting. You know, you can have one fight every now and then, but you keep having sort of fight after fight, then, bye-bye, get out. Which, to be honest, a lot of the Islanders players might as well have done because they were not on it, and that was a concerning loss for the Islanders, who have got to play the Rangers again, and had better hope they play a lot sharper because it wasn't pretty. Rangers picked them to bits, and I think Varlamov did as much as he could, but even he just kind of looked bewildered by the end of his stint. So, and it's a positive result for the Rangers, and it could be the start of them making a run to get into the playoffs, but emphasis on could. I'm still not fully convinced with the Rangers. Obviously, the offensive potential is there. Is the defensive sort of grit there to back it up? Not quite, would be my answer. They still kind of need to work out who's going to be the best goalie, because they're kind of juggling 3 at the moment. So yeah, I'm kind of sitting on the fence. I'm not saying the Rangers can't make the playoffs, but I'm certainly not saying that they're a shoe-in or that they're going to overtake Philly or Carolina for wildcard spot, because at the moment, the consistency isn't quite there. It could be, but let's see what happens sort of later on down the stretch. Other games that are important tonight, moving on to tonight's, so obviously there's our game. There's the Maple Leafs at home to the Devils. The Maple Leafs need to win. They need a big response after that loss to Florida. They need to come out and whack the New Jersey Devils. All the same old questions are going to be asked. Why can't this team, win a Stanley Cup for once after 50 years of waiting? Why can't, they sort out the defence? Why can't they get past Boston in round 1? And so on and so on. Boston are also playing tonight. They're away at Columbus, and there's kind of 2 questions to be answered in that one. Can Boston sort of just blow a team away in regulation, not have to rely on sort of overtime, or even sort of the bizarre potential of maybe, possibly, perhaps winning a shootout? Or are Columbus actually going to show that it doesn't matter who they've lost? They are, more than the sum of their parts. They're an excellent team. They've got a good coach, and they're going to get back in the playoffs again. And maybe knock out the Lightning again. Please don't do that. No, don't like that. So yeah, 2 questions to be answered there. I don't think there's much else from an Atlantic perspective. I know Buffalo are playing, but they're out of it as far as I'm concerned until they show that they can get back in. And Florida aren't playing until Thursday night when they host the Kings. So not a huge amount there. But yeah, I shall be listening in because I have a day off tomorrow, and then I will do a proper analysis of the game tomorrow, and also just a bit sort of a look going towards the All-Star game and how sort of every division is starting to sort of pad out. But until then, this has been another Bolts analysis, and remember, the King is dead. Long live the Lightning.